Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're looking at some really significant news coming out of Portugal. There was a major overhaul approved June 23rd, 2025, affecting their immigration and citizenship laws. And this isn't just tweaking things around the edges, is it? It seems like a fundamental shift. Our goal here is basically to cut through the noise and give you the absolute essentials, the key takeaways from this announcement.
That's right. It's a really interesting package of reforms. You've got these immediate administrative actions, things they need to do right now. But then there are also these much bigger, longer-term legislative changes layered on top. It definitely signals, I think, a reshaping of their whole approach.
Right, a new direction.
Uh,
So we'll try and split this into those two buckets for you. First, the urgent stuff, the administrative actions, and then the broader structural reforms. Okay, let's unpack this. So kicking us off with what seems most urgent, this move to extend residence permits. Tackling a backlog, it sounds like. And the numbers are quite something, aren't they? About 280,000 permits were due to expire, like right at the end of June 2025.
exactly. June 30th was the deadline. So a huge number of people facing uncertainty. The immediate fix is this extension. The permits are now valid until October 15th, 2025.
October 15th, okay.
And importantly, starting July 1st, people affected can go on to AMA's digital platform for a simplified renewal process.
AME, that's the current agency, right?
Yes, the Agency for Integration, Migration, and Asylum. So you apply online, and while you wait for the new physical permit card, you get a certificate. It's valid for 6 months, confirming your legal status, gives people some breathing room.
Right, a 6-month certificate, that's practical.
And this whole emergency extension, it really tells a story. It's a direct result of these automatic renewals they've had running since March 2020.
Ah, the pandemic-era measures.
Precisely. And officials themselves are calling it a heavy inheritance.
Heavy inheritance.
It just shows how procedures, even maybe well-intentioned ones at the time, created this massive administrative bottleneck the system just couldn't keep up. So this extension is, well, it's vital first aid, really. Buys them time.
It really does underscore the need for efficient systems, doesn't it? I mean, 280,000 people. That's a lot of lives affected by administrative capacity. Okay, so that's the immediate firefighting, dealing with that backlog. But you mentioned broader changes, more structural stuff that needs laws passed and regulations written. What does that look like? What's the bigger picture for the future of immigration policy there?
Yeah, this is where we see the more fundamental shifts in strategy. A major one is creating a new unit called UNEF, the National Unit for Foreigners and Borders, and critically, it's being placed within the PSP, the Public Security Police.
Within the police. Okay, that sounds significant.
It is, because UNEF is taking over immigration enforcement powers from AM.
So enforcement moves from the Integration Agency, AMA, to the police, the PSP.
Exactly. It signals a pivot, moving away from maybe a more administrative or integration-focused model towards one that really emphasizes security and border control. UNEP will handle border checks, monitoring foreigners, and also deportations. It's a definite shift in philosophy.
Shifting enforcement to the police. What might that actually feel like for immigrants or people wanting to come? More checks, a tougher environment.
It likely means a more stringent approach, yeah. More focus on control, tighter application of the rules, potentially more visible enforcement activities related to immigration status. It's about strengthening the state's control over who comes in and who stays.
Got it. And what about getting citizenship? Are there changes there too?
Oh, absolutely. Big changes. For naturalization, becoming a citizen after living there, the time requirement is going up. It used to be 5 years of legal residence.
5 years, yeah, that was quite accessible compared to some places.
Oh, now it's going to be between 7 and 10 years.
7 to 10, wow.
Yeah, quite a leap. And it will depend on the applicant's country of origin.
So 7 to 10 years for naturalization. That's a substantial increase. Why such a big change? Is it about integration or just slowing things down?
It seems to be aiming for both, really, ensuring people are settled and integrated for longer before they get citizenship, but also likely managing the number of people naturalizing each year. It makes the path to full citizenship more selective and definitely longer.
Makes sense. What else on the citizenship front?
There are changes for children born in Portugal to foreign parents. Now, at least one parent needs to have 3 or more years of legal residence there for the child to get citizenship automatically.
Okay, 3 years for a parent.
In claims based on Portuguese ancestry, they're being tightened. It's now limited to great-grandchildren only.
Cutting off paths further back than that.
Right. And maybe the most talked about change in some circles, the Sephardic Jew citizenship pathway that's being permanently closed. End of story on that one.
Permanently closed. After all the controversy around it, what finally pushed that decision through?
I think it really boiled down to questions about how the process was working, concerns about potential misuse, a feeling perhaps that it had drifted from its original purpose, so they've drawn a line under it now. And one more thing on citizenship, new rules allowing citizenship to be revoked for dual nationals if they're convicted of serious crimes.
Okay. Revocation in serious cases.
Whoa.
Got it. So citizenship is getting harder. What about just getting in? Are entry routes changing too?
Yes, definitely tightening up there as well. Take the work search visa, for example. That's now going to be restricted only to highly qualified activities.
Highly qualified,
Great.
which presumably needs defining.
Exactly. That definition will be crucial. Also, the CPLP regime, that's for the Community of Portuguese Language Countries, they're removing the ability to convert a tourist visa to a residence permit under that scheme. And they're adding mandatory security checks for CPLP applicants, too.
Okay, no more tourist visa conversions for CPLP nationals and security checks. What about families?
Family reunification is also getting stricter. The person already in Portugal, the sponsor, will need 2 years of legal residence first.
2 years before they can bring family.
Yes. And it's being limited specifically to minor children.
Only minor children.
Right.
These are definitely significant shifts across the board. And as you hinted, some of this still needs the fine print, right? Government ordinances to define highly qualified, set up the new procedures. It's not all happening overnight.
Precisely. The laws set the framework, the direction. But the detailed rules, the operational nuts and bolts, still need to be developed and published. So there's still some process to go before everything is fully implemented. But if you zoom out, take the bigger picture view, these reforms collectively signal Portugal moving towards a more selective immigration policy, more emphasis on security, more control over the numbers and types of people coming in. But importantly, they are keeping legal pathways open, especially for qualified workers. And as we started with, they're also tackling those urgent administrative issues, like the permit backlog. It's a multi-pronged approach.
Okay, so that's our deep dive into these quite sweeping changes to Portugal's immigration and nationality landscape. We've covered the immediate actions on permits and the bigger structural reforms like UNEF and the new citizenship rules. Hopefully you feel you've got a much clearer picture now of what's happening.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. How do you think this policy shift might shape Portugal's future demographically and economically? And maybe more broadly, what does it tell us about how countries everywhere are trying to balance, national security, economic needs, and humanitarian concerns when it comes to immigration? What really stands out to you from all these changes we've discussed? Something to ponder.